these people are like, what's wrong? And I'm like, and they're like, I think this kid's possessed. And we're back with story time, and today I tell you a story about when I was in 3rd grade and peed my pants. No, actually that was a different story that you've already heard, but I have another story from a 3rd grader that got lost at Six Flags Magic Mountain, baby. To start this story, we have to go back to when I was a little kid again. I was always a very scared child, okay? I was scared of everything. We kind of go over that when the dog attacked me and stuff. You've heard that story. I was always afraid and I was a crybaby. I would always cry. I would be left in a room by myself, I would cry. They wouldn't buy me a toy, I would cry. They bought me a toy and I would cry. I cried at basketball games. I was very competitive, and every time I lost a basketball game at like the rec league, I would cry. I would cry when I missed a shot. I would cry when my brothers would play me one-on-one and I would lose. So I'd cry. I was a crybaby and I was scared. I was afraid of everything. One movie that I have never seen and I can never see still is The Exorcist. Every time I try to watch that movie, I would stop it right when she got possessed. So my family and I decided to go to Six Flags Magic Mountain. We go to Six Flags and lo and behold, I'm afraid of roller coasters. I'm scared of them. I don't want to go on roller coasters. I was like a short kid, so for the longest time, I was like, I could get away with it without saying anything. They'd be like, hey, let's go on Supreme Scream or Colossus or Goliath or all these roller coasters back in the day. They'd be like, let's go on those. And I'd be like, yeah. And then we'd go to measure me and I'd be like, oh, just a little too short. Oh, dang it. Maybe one day I can go on these roller coasters. My family would go on. This was back in the day when everything was like, seemed safer, that you can just leave a little kid just there. And I would just wait for my family to go on the roller coaster and, do their thing. And then I'd wait at the exit and then they'd come out and then we'd leave and it'd be that cool. This time when we went to Six Flags, I was tall enough for the roller coasters. I decided I'm gonna go on Colossus. I don't know if you guys know, Colossus is an old roller coaster. One of the oldest wooden, scariest ones of all time. That first drop, it feels like everything inside you just goes right in here. And you're like, and it just feels like it's never gonna end, and the roller coaster is wooden. It's like, scary as heck, right? I'm still scared of it right now. I like roller coasters. I kind of got over that fear, but I would still be scared of that roller coaster right now. So I go on, intense. I'm crying, pooping, peeing, and I was like, it's a horrible scene. My mom is, the typical Mexican mom. She's like, cállate la boca, cállate. She's like, be quiet. You're embarrassing me in front of everybody. And I'm just like, oh my God, I never want to go on another roller coaster again. That was like the first ride we got on that day. So for the rest of the day, I'm like, I'm not getting on another roller coaster, not just in this day, in my life. So we go to many different rides and I just wait at the exit. No big deal, right? I just like, hey, they go, wait at the exit. We're gonna get on. Don't move, stay there. Cause I'm the type of kid that's like, whoa, a butterfly, oh, and I just go chase it. And next thing you know, I'm gone. So my parents knew this and they'd be like, stay there, don't move. My mom would say, te voy a dar una cachetada. I wouldn't move, so I just stay in the exit, me, but I'm just like full of energy, so I'm sitting there like, waiting for my mom, just sitting there like, that was just me. That's my son Nightly. He's very like energy. He's like a ball of energy. He's just everywhere. We would go to every ride. Okay, that's the thing. It's pretty simple. And then they're like, hey, it's the end of the day, really. It's like, I think it's like 9 o'clock at night. It's dark. We want to go to Colossus one more time. And I'm like, I'm not getting on that ride. No. And they're like, you don't have to. Wait at the exit. The thing about Colossus is it wasn't your typical exit. This is where it got confusing. Colossus has 2 roller coasters going at once. 2 different exits. And I don't think my parents also knew that there was like 2 exits. And I walked to the exit, but I walked to the exit of the other roller coaster and they got on this roller coaster on this side. So like you get on here, you go, and then you exit here and you exit here. So they got on this one, right? That was a great analogy. I'm sure you can tell. That was so good. Like you were like, oh, I know where the exits are. East, west, north, south, So I'm sitting here and it's late. It's funny because I have a oversized Michael Jordan jersey. It's like an extra large, just chilling, just like waiting. It's cold, it's nighttime. Time starts to go by, little by little. And I'm like, this roller coaster isn't that long. Like, it shouldn't take that long. And knowing me, like I said, I'm a crybaby. I cry about everything. I'm sitting there going, like, just holding it in, because I'm like, it's been like 20 minutes and I'm about to cry. They didn't show up. They never came out. And then I just start bawling. And I run down the exit and I run out and I'm like, and I'm looking around and I'm just bawling my eyes out. And someone's like, what's wrong? And I'm like, I can't find my parents. I had an ugly cry and you couldn't even understand what I was saying. So I was like, I don't know if you've seen my video called She's Perfect. She has an ugly cry in my video, but it's kind of like based on me when I was a little kid. Just watch it, it's a funny video. My parents would always be like, use your words. We can't understand what you're saying when you cry like that. These people are like, what's wrong? And I'm like, and had like a really thick accent at the time still, because I didn't know how to speak English till I was like 5. So I was like 8 by that time, so I had a really thick accent. I was crying. They couldn't hear me. My mama, and they're like, I think this kid's possessed. They kind of found out that I didn't know where my parents were, and my parents had gone and waited for me too on the other exit. They thought somebody took me. They thought I was, me, and just decided to run off and chase like a caterpillar in the corner or something. So they went to the office to report a missing person. They asked my mom like, hey, what does he look like? Like, is there anything specific that would make us find him easier? And she's like, yeah. He was probably gonna be crying a lot. And then it was funny because she said right away, they're like, yeah, we got a kid that's like bawling his eyes out over here. So they found me pretty easily. I was with this family and it was like a movie. Like my mom came out of the office and I ran and I was like, Mom, I can't believe it. Boom! Didn't I tell you to stay at that? Typical Mexican mom, right? She's just like, and I was just like, oh man, I was lost. And she's like, no, you weren't lost. You got lost, but you weren't lost. I'm pretty sure I peed my pants too. Anyways, I mean, that's a side note. You know how you lose your mom at the grocery store? But it was like that times 100. So after that, my parents made me go on every roller coaster. And it was the worst because I hate roller coasters. That's one of the scariest times of my life. And nowadays that would be even more scary because, kids get lost all the time. And I never let my kids, when we go to Disneyland or any, I'm like, they're like, I want to put a leash on them, but that's not good, So you buy a monkey backpack and that's what you do. You hold on to them that way. But that was the time that I got lost at Six Flags and I was lost, but now I'm found.